Hello and welcome. I am April.
Hello, April. Well, thank you for having me.
Yes. For the audience sake, I'm April Frazier, confidence coach and founder of Forward Confidence Coaching. I'm here with Nicole Lebrou. I'm practicing my French. I love French. And she is the founder of Cosmic Earth Collective. So today we're going to talk with Nicole and find out what she's up to in the world and what stands in her way of living the dream that she wants. Welcome, Nicole, again.
Thank you.
What, so if you could get anything out of our call today, what is it that you need?
I'm actually feeling pretty good about things in general, but I think I need a little focus, motivation, and a little structure and support of just like yeah, I think I just need a little support, a little feedback, um, and just kind of helping me figure out what are going to be like the next best steps to take for my business.
Okay. Okay. So before we dive into that, if you had the focus, motivation, structure, support, feedback, if you had that, what would be different for you?
I would be able to be focusing solely on the things that I want to do in my business, rather than the structural. I'm a big thinker. I have so many ideas. I can see the path, but it's like all the like the mechanism things that I would love to have, and I do have people that I'm starting to have help me with those things, but I just want to do like the big picture dreaming and thinking, like making it happen, and not doing the formatting of emails and the bookkeeping, and this person is having trouble with their password, and this something got unhooked within the funnel, and it's like that needs to be reconnected. Just all of those things just really take me out of my creativity, and it just becomes this like drudgery, like list of all these little things to do that I don't want to do. So if I had all those things that you mentioned, I would be able to just really be focusing on shifting the paradigm, transforming the world in ways that I think are most beneficial for most people, and not have to do all the little sticky stuff.
Gotcha. Do you have to do the sticky stuff? I heard you say you have people.
I'm starting to pass those things over, and it feels really good. But we're doing it. We're getting there. It's just not fully there yet.
Okay. So how would focus help you to get there? Or and you said you also mentioned motivation.
I think I am not I don't love to work. I'm not like a workaholic. I'm not someone, I mean, I do get a lot out of my work, like in all parts of my life. And I would always do something, but I don't want to work a lot. I'd want to work a minimal amount. And I know that I'm creating the foundations to get there. But it's just like, yeah, it's just like I'm like, the motivation is like, yeah, but I'd rather go for a walk in the woods, or my friend invited me for, and these are all things that I enjoy doing and I want to be doing and that nourish and support me in other ways. But it's like, oh, I could like do some Instagram posts, or my friend just asked me out for lunch and I'm going to go out for lunch instead. So it's like those sort of things. Like I have a hard time making myself do things I don't want to do. So then like the to-do list of like all those like little dumb things that I was mentioning before gets long, and I put stuff off, and it's just like, and I don't even, I don't know. I guess there's some stickiness there as I'm talking. I can even see it. Like, I don't want to do these things. I know I can have other people do these things. I'm working on it, but it's just like, I just want to like get where I'm going. But I know, the process is, a huge part of the journey and the growth and the growth and all that. So it's a lot of motivation to just like do all the things that I don't want to do, but in the also delegating those things and getting them off my plate so I don't have to do them.
You sound like a woman who knows what needs to be done. You said, I have a hard time making myself do stuff I don't want to do. Yeah. Nicole, that's most of us. You're not alone. And I say that with like love. You're not alone. So the body is very obedient. When we say we don't want to do something, we find a way to not do it. The body listens to our dialogue. I hate this. So then the body shrinks down and it becomes harder. When we say, I love this, the body expands up. So does your energy. And it's easy. And a lot has to do with whether we feel that we're forcing ourselves or if we are in flow. So, Nicole, if your body is obedient to whatever you say, right now you're saying, I hate this. Rather than trying to force yourself into doing something you hate, how could you honor your truth? I hate this, and because of that, my body will reflect that, and my energy will reflect that. How can you honor that versus resist it? Try to resist it.
I mean, definitely change my mindset and maybe look at it more as these are the steps along the path of like where I want to go, and almost I don't know. That's all I can think of is like just to see the bigger picture and to know that these are the things that need to be done. Moving towards the bigger picture. What keeps popping into my mind, so I'm just going to say it, is like I had moved some money in different bank accounts, and I got without, and I am more organized, so this is not going to happen in the future, but I have some overdraft fees, and I've been putting off calling the bank because to talk to them about it, to see if I can get some of that money back for like months. And I know that's definitely one of those things that like nobody likes to do, but it's just like the pit I get, and just like, and dealing with any sort of like conflicty thing like this, it just makes me feel like nauseous and like stomach ache and just like, ugh, like I don't, and I know it's going to be fine, but it's just like the emotional, I guess it's like I'm putting off the emotional response that I'm having to like doing these things. I don't know. I don't know if there's, I don't know what other, I don't know how to, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. So let's assume for a moment that, because I hear you saying I need to change my mindset. Okay, that's one option, right? Let's assume for a moment that there's nothing you can do about how you feel about doing these things you hate. Assume for a moment you can't do anything about it. What other options are there?
To not do it, just to pay and not deal with, just say, forget it. It's not worth the $40 I might get back, and just say, forget it, and just deal with it. I could have somebody else do it, but I don't even know if that is an option because it's like my personal bank account, but I guess someone could do that. Yeah, those are two other options.
Okay. What stops you from just paying the money?
I mean, nothing. That's what I'm doing right now.
And in your business then, because there are pieces, elements of things that you don't want to do, can you pay someone to do those things?
Yes.
Okay. What stands in your way from doing that?
Um, a couple things, and like I have two virtual assistants that are helping me, and I've only been working with them for maybe like 2 or 3 months, so we are like getting there. But I guess, it's trust, like trusting another person to be able to do these things. And then, money is the other part of it, as like growing my business. Yeah, just balancing that. In the past, I have, like last year, I invested in someone to do some work for me, and it wasn't anything bad. She did what it was, but I guess I was on a little bit when we started working together. It was like for something, it was like a pin. She was going to do Pinterest for me, and I thought it was a good idea. Um, it seemed like a good idea. It maybe would have been a good idea if I kept going with it, but I wasn't. It was a decent monthly investment, especially for where I was in my business, and I wasn't getting it didn't feel good because I was like paying her and paying her, and like not she was doing all the things that she was doing, but I wasn't getting the return on what I was getting, and I had to cut things with her because our designated time of working together was over, and she was like, like things are just starting to pick up, like stick it out a little bit longer. And I'm like, I can't continue to pay you this much money even one more month. So that just feels like, actually that even came up in like doing the worthy work of We Should All Be Millionaires, of just like mistakes I've made. And it was just like I invested, like, man, I wish I could have those couple $1,000s back. Like that just wasn't a wise investment, and it wasn't awful, and it didn't decimate me, and it wasn't a horrible big deal. It was definitely something I learned from. So I guess there's a little bit of caution going full force and like working with someone else, or paying somebody else, because I want to make sure that it's ends up being beneficial for me. Like this investment, like I said, it it, it just wasn't the right time in my business for me to be investing in that. And I didn't know that then. I know that now. So it's just, I just don't want to get into that situation again, because that did not feel good to be like being like, this was a bad investment. I still have to pay this money to uphold my end of our contract. It was fine, but it didn't feel good.
Okay.
And and it's just like growing my business in a way that's sustainable, that's not going to put me, I already have money invested in my business, and I don't necessarily want that to keep growing and growing and growing. So I'm just being a little bit, more cautious. Yes, if I had like, if my business was making more money, I would certainly hire more people to do more things, but it's like, we're getting there. We're getting there.
I get that. So you're trying to get to a place where you can pay people to do more of the things that you hate, but needing to create the funds first in order to have the leverage to pay them from a place that feels right for you.
Yes. Yes. That's a part of it. And then also because for a long time, I didn't have anybody help me, because I was just like, I'm still pretty new to this, and just being like, what would they even do? So then I started throughout my day to day, like noticing my tasks and being like, I could have somebody do this. So I started writing a list. And then after a couple of weeks, I had like a huge list of like things that other people could do. So then that's when I went out and started working with these two women it's going really well so far. I forgot where I was going with that.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot that train of thought left me.
And not mess this up, remember? Tell me, let's put a pin in that for a second. We'll come back to this piece of the tactical piece. Tell me a bit more about your vision for your quality of life as a business owner.
My vision for my quality of life. Oh, I love it. I want to, I would work like 20 hours a week. I would have my my house needs upgrading, like big projects, like a new kitchen, a new like new bedroom, new bathroom. So my home would be in a much more suited to my life, like my comfort, and just things being more easily organized and like set up in my home. I would travel all the time, which I do make time for, and before COVID.
Yeah.
Um, I would travel more. I would like to be more generous with my friends and family. I would have someone cooking for me at least sometimes. I would have, beautiful outdoor space, live near the beach. I just would love my home to be like a welcome place for people, that's very like cozy and homey, and like you're welcome, and everyone's welcome, like come on over. It's just like a safe, cozy, beautiful place to be, that's filled with um, things I've purchased as I'm traveling, and like that beautiful painting you have behind me. Like I really want to support artists, and yeah, that's my vision for me for my personally. And I would love to be very, very generous with my money to give towards organizations and people, specific organizations that are doing, but also just like shopping and buying things from people who are small businesses that are selling things. Like I love doing that. And I do that now on, I'll go to the farmer's market and like buy the things from people and buy, because I want my money to be supporting other women and people of color and indigenous people and small business owners and all of that. Gotcha. So I want my money to something I say about money, I say easy come, easy go, let it flow. Like I want to be that channel for money that's diverting the money into places that I think are more beneficial, rather than, corporations and all that stuff.
There are a few things coming up for me. So the last thing you said struck me, because what I interpreted from what we've talked about so far, there's a sense right now that you need to hold money a little bit more, or be more cautious with money, when when what you really desire is to let it flow.
Mm-hmm. And I'm like in that balance, like of holding on to what I need for right now, but also letting it go. Like I'm generally generous, but I also obviously need to be able to like take care of myself and not, give it all away. I had a big month last month, like my biggest month ever. And I'm not I'm aware of this, but I don't want it to just be like all be gone immediately. Like my one of an initial feeling I have would just be like to invest in more, to just invest and do things. And I do that a little bit, but I also I mean, I guess, yeah, I am being a little cautious now. You're right.
Okay. Does that caution come from fear?
Yeah.
Oh.
Of not being able to make that much money every month. Because I am having it now, being like, you're right. I made more money last month, and then I'm like, okay, you need to keep like not, you're right. It totally is fear, because I'm like, I don't think I can do that again. Or yeah, that's it. I don't think I can like repeat that income in the future months. And I'm thinking of something else just came up too. I'll say that in a second. So I am being cautious, and it is fear-based of me being like, I might not make that much money again in the next couple months. So I need to like keep some of this money. Plus, like what Rachel talked about, have like resetting your zero, like your zero isn't zero. Your zero is a couple $1,000s, like whatever it is. So I'm trying to like keep my zero higher so I have more money. But what I just thought of was I was a waitress for a very long time, and where I live is very popular in the summertime. So waiting tables is like you make not bazillions, but you make a lot of money in the summer, and then winter it's like a feast or famine kind of industry. And I just was realizing as I was talking to you that I think there's some of that, like of that feast or famine kind of waitress mentality of like, yeah, I'm gonna make $300 every night all summer, and then in the winter it's like, here's $60, so it's just like I think there's maybe something of that still kind of hanging on.
I'm so happy to hear that. And let's notice it, right? No judgment. There's some emotional memory about, hey, I don't know when I'm going to get this money again, or this kind of money again, so let me hold on to it. Fear-based. And as you know from the program, scared money doesn't make money. Mm-hmm. So what's curious to me is that in your biggest month to date, you still feel a need to hold.
And honestly, I think I feel the need to hold even more strongly now.
Notice that. It's not actually about the amount of money you've made that makes you want to hold. And the more money you make, the more you want to hold. So how will you know? Let's say you have your dream. How will you know when will you let yourself embody your money dream of letting it flow?
I don't know. My response that like I want to say is when I have a couple really good months. But I don't know if that's true. That's just what, would come to mind. Or when I have X amount of dollars saved, and I don't have a number for that. And I do let it flow in little ways, but it's like a trickle, like a $20 candle. It's nothing like, bold or big. Yeah. I think in the past when I've had like no money, I'm just like, fuck it, I don't have any money anyway. I'll just spend my last $75 on whatever because I don't care. I don't have any money. But now that's like I'm starting to, like, my bank account now is the highest it's ever been in my entire life. Like my personal checking account. Like, yeah.
So notice that, Nicole. It's not the money. It's what's happening in here. And to intercept that cycle, how will you know when to intercept the cycle of the more money I make, the more I feel I need to hold? That's polar opposite of what you said you wanted. The more money you have, the more free you are. But notice that's not how you're showing up right now. And again, no judgment. That's survival mechanism. Cool. When will you let yourself embody who you want to be?
Right now.
Easy to say.
Yeah.
But absolutely, yes. Fear is a reaction. Trust is a decision.
Yeah. I think I'm surprised I'm getting emotional about this right now. Um, it just felt so good to make that money and to like count the money and to see the numbers. And I like just got into bookkeeping. So that's another thing that is bumming me out a little bit, is that I didn't keep track of my money when I didn't have a lot. And I'm sure what I think is a lot now, most entrepreneur, it's all relative. I'm totally aware of that. It's not like I have a ton of money, but it's a lot for me. And I wish I would have kept track of my money better leading up to this so I can see how far I've come. But like that, I was too embarrassed or whatever. It was just like, I can't, it was just like one of those things that like with the motivation and the focus. And I was just like, I can't deal with that right now. But it's like, I'm getting there, like baby steps, baby steps. But I've been keeping track of my money, and I actually have systems in place. I hired somebody that made spreadsheets for me, and she put things together, and it feels really good. And yeah, so it's like I feel like I've been working really hard, and not in like a forced way. But it's like I feel like I'm finally getting there. And you're right, it is a fear of losing it again, or of not having it again, or like this is the 1 month you're going to make a lot of money, so you better hold on to it. You're right, that totally is what I'm feeling.
Let's honor it. And it sounds like this is a survival mechanism that has served you up until this point. Kept you safe, kept you with a roof over your head. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and I'm also realizing that I'm sure is totally related. I have pride in a way of always just skating by. Like I always just make it. Even I remember when we were younger, like I would have $20 to my name, and if someone's, I remember like some of my friends would be, and honestly, I'm seeing their money issues like still 30 years later, like when we were, 12 years old and had babysitting money. It's still kind of the same thing now, of being like, feeling like they're not having enough. I never felt like I didn't have enough. I always felt like I always just had enough. I always have enough. That was my mindset. And that has gotten me through a lot of just like, I always have enough money for what I need. And that is true. I've always like, oh, I got $530 in my bank account. Awesome. My rent's $500. I did it. I made it work. I always have enough. And that's where it's been, is just enough. Always have just enough. And that's true. That's been totally true throughout my life. Traveled on like the last $1,000 I had to my name and been like, whatever, I got enough. I'll work it out when I get back. And it always does work it out. But I guess, even like when I'm playing, my son loves playing like Monopoly Junior. So we've been playing that a lot lately. And when I have a pile of money, it's like almost not as fun. I'm like, okay, here, paying for all the things. But when I have like $2 left, I'm like, all right, I get like puzzly and like a detective. And I'm like, all right, how am I going to make this work? And I'm like, all right, if I get this happens. And I'm always just trying to like, I get some sort of thrill of like making the last $3 work or something. But now it's like, I want more than enough. I don't want enough. I don't want to like just make do with everything. I want more than enough. And I guess that's where a little bit of struggle is, in that transition of being psyched and so proud that I always have enough, to like stepping into like, no, I want more than enough.
So let's notice that. You desire abundance, but there's a little bit of pride in figuring it out.
Yeah.
There's a book I will recommend for you. I think it's called Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Have you read it before or
No.
to it before? What comes up for me and what resonated when you were talking is, again, the body makes whatever you believe true. So if you believe there's pride and always eking by with just enough, then yes, you're going to spend the down to the last because there's energy there. There's a reward there from your past. You'll keep doing that. Doesn't matter how much money you make, you're always going to get down to the last because there's something that serves you there. Notice that. Also notice that the amount of money you make is not what's keeping you stuck, whether it's a little or a lot. It's the internal emotional memory, the habits, and the beliefs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is really interesting. I'm definitely thinking about things and seeing things in ways I hadn't considered before.
What made you emotional?
I don't know. I was surprised that I'm curious to explore that more myself because I don't know. It surprised me and I don't really have like thoughts to express to talk about it. It was just I don't know. I don't know where that came from. I don't know if it was like just a release of speaking the truth in some way, or I don't know. Because I feel blessed and grateful that like I said, I've never been without, but I've always, like I said, just like squeaked by. And it would be like, and calibrating the zero thing, when Rachel talked about that the other week, that made a lot of sense because I would always go down to zero and be like, oh, I'm working shifts next week. Like I'll get that money back, whatever. But it was, yeah, I'm always like playing around zero and being generous when I have more than that. And then and then tightening when it's like, oh shit, I really, this is bad this month or whatever.
Mm-hmm. How do you think of rich people?
I've got a lot of issues with rich people because of my blue collar father's ideas of hard work mentality and I'm totally aware of all this. But here, I'm actually glad you brought this up because I would love to hear your input on this as well. So yeah, it's like bad people are selfish. Bad people don't know what it's like. I mean, rich people don't know what it's like. Rich people are selfish. Rich people don't care about anybody else. Like all of that stuff. But I guess, so that's like, like my dad's like, oh, people just sit in offices all day. Like, what do they even do? Just sit in offices all day looking at the computer. Like, that's not a day's worth of work, a good day's worth of work with, sweat, blood, sweat and dirt under your fingernails, like all this stuff. Like he doesn't respect, he just thinks it's like, he just has disdain for white collar jobs and such, because his family is like farmers and blue collar and construction and machinery and like all that stuff. So I am aware of that and I am like unpacking it and totally aware of it. But on the other side of it, it's like rich people have done horrible things to people. So there is historically some truth to that. Not in the way that he's thinking about it, but it's like, okay, I'm hearing it that like rich people are bad and all of these things. And then also seeing from like examples of history of mostly white men like horribly exploiting people, horribly exploiting the earth, horribly exploiting like all of these things to get all of this money. Like I feel like a lot of the way riches have been accumulated throughout the course of history are on the backs of other people and the earth, you know, herself. So I love seeing different kinds of people having money and like showing the great things that they can do with it. And I think that we're going to be seeing more and more of that going into the future. But yeah, I'm just like, it's like, yeah, rich people are all assholes. And I'm like, well, they kind of are in a lot of ways. So that is something that is like playing out a little bit in my mind.
I'm glad that you're aware of it. But Nicole, poor people have exploited other poor people. Black people have done bad things to other Black people and Native American people and other people. The fact is, humans do bad stuff to other humans, and rich people have also done a lot of good. Think of some of the things like the millionaires who are giving back their fortunes. Bill Gates, for example. Think of the good that Beyonce has done in the world for highlighting Black photographers for Vogue magazine. Like, think of the good that people do. Rich people do use their money for good, and poor people use their money and their influence or whatever for bad. So it's all of it. But as you're talking, you started off to say, this is my dad's, and I'm aware of it. But as you started to talk more about rich people, and you'll see this and when I show you the replay, your energy definitely expands into, yeah, there is something wrong with rich people. They've done all this terrible stuff. And you're not wrong. Rich people have also done a lot of good stuff. And poor people have also done a lot of bad stuff and a lot of good stuff.
Yeah. I guess in my mind, I hadn't thought about it as clearly as you just spoke it. And in my mind, I feel like, you know, the poor people doing the bad stuff is in a way, in my mind, I'm like, because it's like survival. Like they're doing the best that they can with what little they have to take care, you know, of whatever. And, but you're right. It's not, it's humans in all tiers of everything.
Do you know any really rich people personally as friends?
No.
Okay, so you don't have any personal experience with a rich person that was terrible.
Here's my personal experience.
Okay.
Working in restaurants, waiting on people who own yachts, who have everything have handed to them their entire life, and they're complete assholes, and they sexually like, you know, just like, I'm just, you know, treat you just like you're some dumb servant and don't make eye contact, are just rude and disrespectful. So that is, and that not, yes, that is my personal experience with rich people who come to the restaurant, who are summer people. Like where I live, there's freaking huge mansions that people spend 3 weeks a year in, and the rest of the time that sits completely empty. Like that is just such a waste in like that in so many ways to me. And that's another part of it is like, I'm an herbalist, and I'm very much about being sustainable and not not taking all of these resources and being wasteful and use like all of these things, like how is just out of control in like most parts of our culture. So I just see all this like waste, or you see all these crazy houses that are just like sitting empty. And, you know, people don't have a place to, it's just like that gross imbalance just like bothers me. But I guess, yeah, that is my main interaction with rich people, is them being assholes to me, the waitress, and just in real life, or not even leaving like good tips at all. Like that was most of the case. And we were like, dude, your yacht is like, you have a boat that is worth $10 million. Like that's my experience with rich people. Why I'm just like, you know, I just see that gross, I guess it's like, I just would spend my money differently. And I guess I need to get that money so I can spend it differently.
Well, no, but you can start right now.
I do that. I do that right now with the money that I spend. I'm very cautious, and I'm not cautious. I'm very contemplative of like who I'm who I'm giving my, my money to.
So noticing your money story, how does it feel in your body right now? Because when you talked about rich people, your energy changed.
I have a little bit of a stomach ache. I feel like things are coming undone, which is good. Yeah, just a little like discordant, I guess. Like things are like moving around and getting reassembled in some ways, I guess.
I want you to just sit with that, Nicole. Just take a few deep breaths. Just sit with what's in your body. Where do you feel this discordant? Is there pain? Are there tears? If so, release it. Just no judgment. Noticing it. Releasing. Take your time here. Take all the time you need.
I'm angry. It makes me so angry that just the uneven distribution of wealth.
You feel it. I feel it from you. I feel the anger, and the emotionality feels it. It comes very strongly from that place. But notice that, Nicole, if you're angry at rich people, you are never going to really become one of them. Because energetically and emotionally, you reject that.
I know.
So it doesn't matter how much money you make, you're always going to exempt yourself from that crowd, one way or another.
I just started working with a client, like one-on-one, doing yoga sessions with her. And she's very wealthy. And she's also very generous. And she is very kind. She has a beautiful home that's very like not all fake and plastic. And she employs a lot of people. And actually, my friend actually is her landscaper. And this was an interesting switch that happened like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. My friend was kind of like rolling her eyes about, yeah, she's always got like 10 people at her house, like the heat guy's there every day and the wind, like all these people. And then I actually, in the past, I think I would have jumped on that bandwagon of like bitching about it. But I actually thought to myself, like, yeah, but she's employing all these people. Like she's supporting the local community by hiring all these people to do all these like small things, like things that you and I, you know, like to change the thermostats for the winter, somebody comes and like does that for her house. Like all those little things that we wouldn't even like think, like I wouldn't even know that you could even like hire somebody to do that. And so, but I actually took the side of my client and being like, yeah, but she I'm like, yeah, but she pays you so much money to like do her gardens. And she pays me so much money to teach her yoga. And she pays the heat guy this much money. And she pays her cleaning lady this much money. And she pays. So I'm just seeing. So that was the beginning of a shift in my mind of like seeing what she's doing and how she's doing it, and seeing how it is actually beneficial for the community. And she's like very, you know, she's on all these like boards of like art nonprofits, and she's very like into culture and art and supporting all those things. So honestly, she's starting to shift by seeing the example of her and Rachel and all the other women I'm meeting in the group, which is all very new. I've just been a member for like a month and a half. It is beginning to shift a little bit, but yeah, you're totally right. I've been listening. I do have anger about that. And yeah, I'm like intellectually aware of it, but it's very clearly like still in my body.
Yep. I can feel that from you. So I come back to, when can you let yourself embody? Because you know intellectually, hey, I have a story. I also, from your client, you're seeing, but she's not like that. So if I can find one exception in my circle, that means there are others.
Of course.
And more importantly, I can be the exception. What comes up for you?
That I really want that.
Okay. Then you need to stand in that power. You need to stand in the power and embody who you choose to be right now.
Yes.
Okay, from this new embodied place, what new decisions does rich Nicole make?
That use my power and my influence and my money to shift oppressive structures that I lead by example of another way to do things that is more sustainable and supportive of others. And that I empower and lift others with power, influence, and money.
Good. That's a good vision. What's the tiniest step you can take right now today?
I can be really proud when I give Christmas gifts to people. That I bought at small businesses and by local makers. And I can be generous and abundant in joy and gratitude. And I can do my bookkeeping because that's my Friday morning thing and I'm not going to do it tomorrow.
We started this call good. And we started this call, you're saying, I have a hard time making myself do things I don't want to do. Do rich people do the stuff they want to do, or do they give back to the local community when there's stuff that they don't want to do?
They give back to the local community.
Okay. What does Nicole choose to do? The rich Nicole that's coming online right now. She's coming online right now. How does the rich Nicole choose to expend her energy in her business and her money?
Choose to be grateful and generous and empower others. Share it, share the wealth.
What's the tiniest step?
I can pass on more things to the women that I already have supporting me. I can pass on more responsibility and also more money to them.
How does that feel?
Good. It feels lighter. It feels more expansive.
Notice the feeling.
It feels reciprocal. It feels sustainable. It feels appropriate. And it feels like these are the systems that I want to be building of. And now I'm seeing how this other thing of like doing things all on your own, which is another trait that has been generationally passed down to me of just like, you don't want, you like you need to like, you should be able to do everything on your own. And like not accepting handouts and like other people helping you is like a sign of weakness and like that sort of thing. So there's that, as I know that's like a whole other thing, but that's like in this too. But I know that I believe that that's the way that human beings are most like that's most beneficial for us to live in deep support and connection with one another. And that's the community, that's the paradigm and the way that we interact that I want to strengthen and perpetuate, of us all supporting one another and utilizing our best skills and abilities for the benefit of all.
Good.
Wow, I'm becoming aware of things that I haven't, in a way that I haven't been made aware of them in the past.
What I invite you to do, because you're noticing how deeply entrenched the story is about money and rich people. Again, the body is very obedient to what we believe. So noticing how deeply entrenched it is, it's not going to be as simple as to flip a switch and now the new rich Nicole's online, although she's en route, because awareness is the first step. What I invite you to do is create a compass question for yourself so that when you are having to make a decision about money, you can use your compass to decide, am I speaking from we'll call her the legacy Nicole, the OG, the original Nicole, or am I speaking from the rich Nicole? And you may have noticed in this conversation, the compass question, when do you get to embody who you want to be? That could be a compass question. And maybe something else that comes up for you. I need to balance my books, or I need to call the bank. Is this legacy or original Nicole making this decision? Or is this rich Nicole making this decision?
I like that question, and it already is like reframing things in my mind. Yeah.
Do you feel the energy change?
Yeah. Yeah. That feels like a good marker to reflect back on when I find myself in a situation where I'm shrinking or making a decision based on a fear of something that might happen in the future or might not happen in the future.
And noticing if your belief is coming up. Story, money story that's no longer serving. Rich people, wait, I'm rich. Hold on.
I know it's bad. It's deep. It's been something I've been hearing my entire life. And not that I thought I had like a handle on it, but I thought I knew about it, I think, more than this call has made. I mean, I know about it less. Like it's less under control, not that it's to be controlled, but just for lack of a better expression.
Yeah.
Than I thought it was.
Well, then this is a fabulous opportunity. The first step to gaining confidence to become, in this case, rich Nicole, is awareness. Oh, that's my survival mechanism. Oh, that's my own money story popping up. Hey, money story. Yeah, good to see you again. Yeah, no, I'm choosing to make a different decision here because I'm standing in the power of rich Nicole, who is going to be the change she wants to see. Now, what am I making a decision about? How does that change how I'm going to make this decision?
I'm just thinking about how I went shopping yesterday to like all these local places, and I felt so freaking good all day giving my money to these women behind the counter, selling their wares, and that felt really good. And it's going to feel good when I give those gifts to people too. And that is what I want to magnify.
Do you feel more clear than when you started?
Not when we started. I feel more clear than I was in the middle, because it was like I didn't even know that we were gonna like. Well, I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I just came to this like open, just like let's see what's gonna happen. But even I noticed I stopped doing it like a couple minutes ago. But I was like, you can't see I had my arms like crossed across my belly, and I was just like this, and I was like, that was how I was. That's the OG. That's like that place. But I feel more confident and empowered to make rich Nicole decisions.
What about focus, motivation, structure, support, feedback? What's changed? What changes for you around in those things from the rich Nicole perspective?
Rich Nicole has all the support she needs because she has all the people around her that are supporting her. And those people also provide the motivation and inspiration to continue doing the work that I know I'm supposed to be doing and that frankly I'm really good at. And I know that yeah, I've been trying to do too much by myself. And I'm something that clicked for me that I kind of can't believe I hadn't thought about this before. Like, you know, when you do those, like, what's your like big, crazy, like life thing? Like I want to have a like eco community where we're like living in the woods, everyone's doing their own thing. Like I believe that if every human was like doing their like soul driven purpose, then like everything would just work, because that's the way, that the divine way that things can just like come together. People that want to cook can cook, the people that want to watch the kids, the people that want to do all those things, and then it all works. But me trying to do everything on my own is not supporting that vision. And I've been hearing this little voice of like collaboration more, and that's one of my intentions for the next year, is to collaborate more. But I'm seeing that I'm thinking like other entrepreneurs like we'll do a thing together, but that collaboration needs to be more in the structural support and more in the like the basic underlying everything is community and collaboration, and not just like pillars individually standing on their own.
Okay. Sounds exciting. And when you talk about it, you sound excited.
Yeah, I'm definitely seeing things much differently than I did before this call. Like at a foundational level.
Okay. It feels like you got what you needed from today's call.
Yeah, and I didn't even know I needed it. I didn't even know what I was getting.
Tell me what your biggest takeaway is from today.
A couple things. My biggest takeaways are that the shit that's holding me back is way deeper than I thought it was. That I can start making the empowered, generous, grateful, rich Nicole decisions right now. And that I need to open up to receiving support and motivation and guidance from others. That was a lot. And that I can, yeah. I can rely on others and trust, and yeah, because it does feel good. Like when I'm like, oh, can you do this for me? And then they do it, and I'm like, oh my God, That's all it took, was for me to speak something and it came to be, rather than to struggle to make it happen.
Which is a characteristic of people with influence and wealth.
That was hard. That was hard. That was hard, because even I wanted to like explain every single like how, and she was like, no, I know how to do it. And I'm like, okay, see what happens. And then she totally did know how to do it. And I was like, oh, okay. So like working with people in this way is new, and I'm getting more comfortable with it. Yeah, because in past businesses I've worked with, I've had like interns and things, and it was really hard for me. Plus, I was younger. I think just, being younger and just less experience. But it was really hard for me to like ask for what I wanted and to like make corrections to what other people had done. I'd be like, no, I felt really bad of being like, no, actually do it this way. But I'm moving through that, and it feels really good, and I'm happy to pay them what they charge for their help, which is also a lesson to me of knowing, accepting that people are grateful for when they give me money too.
Absolutely. I'm so happy you said that. I'm so happy you said that. Okay, so I think I'm going to give you an action item.
Okay.
First is to come up with your compass question. We talked through a couple today, but as you digest more and as you watch this replay, whatever other impressions you may have, think about what's your compass question, first thing. And second, I'd like you to start to notice when you make Rich Nicole decisions or OG decisions. Just noticing that in your body. Am I going to buy tomatoes today? Is this Rich Nicole or Legacy Nicole? Am I going to hire someone? Rich Nicole, Legacy Nicole. And I think if you're open to it and if you accept, let's check in a week or so and see, playing in that space, what that's like for you. How do you feel about that?
I feel good about that. I feel good about that. And my initial response was going to be like, well, it's kind of a crazy week, and like I'm not really working, and my son's home from school, and it's going to be crazy. But you know what? That's a good, because it's up in the air and crazy, like that's actually probably a great time to be practicing these things, because things are always going to be different and moving, and now is as good a time as any.
Okay, and to be fair, I'm offering you the opportunity, but Rich Nicole makes decisions based on what's best for her. So you have the power, you have all the power here to say, I accept, I don't accept.
I'm going to say, I'm going to think about it.
Okay.
I mean, I want to say yes, but I also like to give myself some time to just like let it settle.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, Nicole, for your time today. And I'm really grateful.
I'm really grateful for this. This was really incredible. Thank you so much for offering this and for offering your wisdom and guidance. It's been very beneficial and very helpful.
I'm honored to serve you.